So we've been doing these live streaming classes for just about a month. Can you believe it? And I was talking to my friend LP yesterday about how when I first started doing them, I was so flippin' nervous. And it was so hard to practice and talk to you, and I made all kinds of mistakes. And by the way, it's still hard, and I'm still making all kinds of mistakes. But it made me think about how important it is that we allow ourselves to make mistakes. And I know that there are those who say there are no mistakes, but I kind of beg to differ. I think mistakes are everything. I think they are the bomb. And as we stumble into whatever this new normal is, we're going to make all kinds of mistakes. Kind of like kicking up into a handstand or climbing into an arm balance. We're going to wobble, we're going to fall, and then perhaps with a little bit more wisdom, we'll get back up and try it again and do a little bit better. So let's make some mistakes together, don't you think? We'll start in the child's pose. Arms in front of you or arms alongside you, your call. If there's proppage that you like, you can put your forehead on a block or your hands on blocks. Maybe you don't have any props, that's fine too. Just climb in to our little cocoon here and find your way here. Our stop so that we can start. Allow your breath to come in and out through your nose if it can. Feel it scrape across the soft palate in the back of your throat. Note the bits that are sticky or tight and send them a little bit of love. 3 cycles of breath here. We're going to come onto all fours for a cat-cow or two. Inhale, arch your back, a little glance up. Exhale, round and dome and push the ground away. Inhale, a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, round and dome. One more time, inhale, a little bit of an arch. Exhale, round, belly to the spine. Then come to a neutral spine and take your right knee to your right tricep. So right knee, right arm, as best you can manage that. If this gets to be too much at any point in time, head back to cat-cow anytime you wish. Yeah? If you make a lot of mistakes, brilliant. You're right on point. Now, if you want a little bit more, maybe come onto your left fingertips. Possibly take your left arm out in front of you and pause here. That actually adds up to becoming something kind of interesting. So if it's too much, you can always return your left hand to the ground or both knees to the ground for cat-cow. And if you want even more, return your left hand to the ground for a second, curl your back toes under, and take that back knee off your mat, and then see if you can take that left arm out in front of you. Not so easy. I'm making all kinds of mistakes. 3 breaths here. Left hand down, both knees down, cat-cow, inhale, and exhale, round. Inhale, and exhale, round. We'll just do that one more time. Inhale, exhale, round, and come to your neutral spine. Now we're going to move the left knee to the left tricep. And you'll see if you can maybe keep it there. And maybe you toy with some other iterations of this, or this is plenty. You can come onto your right fingertips and then just see if you can get that right arm out in front of you. This is not for the faint of heart, I don't think. This has got some bang for its buck, if you ask me. Couple more breaths. And then if you're interested, you could return the right hand to the ground. Curl your back toes, take that knee off the ground, and then see if you can find some balance and take the right arm out in front of you with the back knee off the ground. And it's like guaranteed to have you wobble, just like I am. And we're all wobbling together. Isn't that cute? 3 breaths. Woo. And then all 4 limbs on the ground. This time, step plank position. And plank position could look a little bit like our cat-cow position, but with your knees a bit further back. So that's this, modified plank. Anytime you see fit, so do I. We've got a few breaths here. I'd like you to really feel the inner part of your hand press. It's almost like you're gripping some wet soil in your fingers. And then there's tons of core work here. Thigh bones press up, low belly lifts. 3 here. Now remember that you can have your knees down on your mat, yeah? We're gonna take 5 counts to our belly. So 5, if you're pregnant, you won't come to your belly. 4, 3, 2, if you're pregnant, just come kneeling. And when you're kneeling, you can do the same thing that we're doing. You're just on your shins. Go forward and up with your chest. Drag your knuckles towards your heels. That's true if you're kneeling also. Now stay with it here and just notice if you're trying to use your chin a whole lot. And excuse that from the equation so that you can emphasize the sternum lifting, the chest bone lifting. I'd like you to feel a lift of your low belly so you're supported here. And then lengthen so much through your right leg, that it might float up off the ground. And if that bothers your lower back, just put it back down on the ground, but there's like a little bit more space that you sense there. Or if you like, keep it lifting. Lengthen through your left leg until it has nowhere to go but up. And then if you need to put that one back down again with a little bit more space, terrific. Or perhaps you're floating your legs off your mat. And I'd like you to note that you're spinning the inseams of your legs towards the ceiling, whether you're still pressing the tops of your feet down into your mat or they happen to be lifted off. And that's an action that we're gonna use in a few situations today. You're gonna release down, place your hands next to your ribs, curl your toes under. Remember the variation with your knees down. We're going to a plank in one piece, all the way up to plank position, and then we pause. Great. Now we're going to take the right knee to the right tricep, remember? And we did that with our knee down, a lot of us. So if you want to put the left knee down here, great. This time, we're going to sneak it over to the left arm. And then we'll sneak it over to the right arm. My pregnant ladies are not going to do the left arm. Over to the left arm. And over to the right arm. One more time to the left. And then to the right. Now, see if you can keep it off the ground as you extend it back in a plank. And if you know that you need both feet or both knees down on your mat, do it. 3 breaths here. Great. Right foot down, maybe both knees down. You're going to take your left knee to your left arm. If you need a break before we do side 2, take it, then climb on in. Then we're going to sneak left knee, right arm. And we'll go left knee, left arm, left knee, right arm. One more time like that, left knee, left arm, left knee, right arm. And then you're just gonna see, can you keep it lifted in your plank, or is it better to have both feet or both knees on your mat? 2 breaths here. Both feet down, possibly both knees down. 5 counts to our belly. 4, 3, 2. My pregnant ladies will kneel again. Great. Interlace and then switch it so it's the unlikely pinky on the bottom. Go forward and up with your chest. This time, lengthen the left leg first so that it has nowhere to go but up. And then you can do the same thing with the right leg. Nowhere to go but up. This is such a good action for us when we're slumped over our computers or in front of the TV, the way that we tend to be. A few breaths here. Great. Lower it down, hands next to your ribs. Just fashion a cobra as if you still had an interlace somewhere in there. Let your low belly lift. Press the pinky toe side of your foot. And maybe now is when you go into that habit of overusing the neck. It's really pliable, so it wants to do the job that we actually would prefer to invite the shoulder blades imprinting the spine to do. Now, much like the option to lift or not lift your legs, you can lower down and make it up dog. And that just means that everything hoists off your mat except your hands and the tops of your feet. You could decide that that doesn't serve you and be in cobra the whole time instead. Downward facing dog, curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back. Anything that you love here, foot pedaling, shifting a little to the razor's edge of the right foot and the inner part of the left leg and back and forth and such. So a little movement is nice. It's a great place for discovery. And then settle into a little bit of stillness here in this almost handstand, almost forward fold known as downward facing dog. It's our home base. High onto your tiptoes. Walk or float your feet all the way in between your hands. Inhale, heart reaches. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale all the way up. And then just pause here in your mountain. Hands in a prayer or arms along your side. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, look forward. Either walk to plank, or if you're somebody who likes to float to bent elbows right away in chaturanga, you can do that. Cobra, or up dog, is the inhale. And then down dog, and some people sneak in an extra chaturanga before down dog. It's all good. And this is almost where we digest our sun salutation here in down dog. High on your tiptoes, take a look at your hands. Walk or float. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold in. Inhale all the way up. And then just pause here in your mountain. Again, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Either step to plank or float to your chaturanga. You can have your knees down for these two. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, up dog or cobra. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, and we digest. High onto your tiptoes, look at your hands, walk or float to them. Inhale, heart reaches. Exhale, fold in. Inhale all the way up. And then fully inhabit your mountain here, mountain pose, Tadasana. You're going to do 3 A's on your own. I'll do them silently here. We'll convene in down dog when you're done. And if you want to just do 1 or 2, that's great too. I'm just starting my last one, and I'll wait for you in down dog, or you'll wait for me in down dog. And from our down dog, come high on your tiptoes, look beyond your hands, walk through or float through to seated, and then lie down on your back, hands behind your head. There are a few ways that you can do this. They're going to look familiar. They're bicycles. You can keep both feet on the ground, right elbow, left knee, put the foot down, left elbow, right knee. Maybe you keep the feet lifted and the knees bent, and that serves you. Could be that you straighten the extended leg. And believe it or not, there's even people who just like to do the whole thing with straight legs, side to side. So I leave it to you. We'll just keep going side to side and building a little bit of tapas, a little bit of heat and discipline into our core. If you're feeling this too much in your lower back, then skip it. If you're pregnant, you could do some abdominals. I wouldn't recommend the twisty abdominals that we're doing. It's kind of a personal choice. If it doesn't feel like the right move, it's not the right move. Great. Now, next time you twist to the right, you're going to stay there and maybe even reach your arms to the outside of that right leg. But if your neck is kind of appreciating your hands behind your head, leave it there. It's perfect. Now, just see if we can be a little bit stationary here and work the idea of the right shoulder blade lifting up off our mat. Almost like we're doing twisting triangle right now, except we're lying on our back, which means we've got tactile feedback of where exactly our shoulder blades are. So you can just see, can I elevate that right shoulder blade? The answer might be no. It's fine. We're going to switch that out. So left leg goes up, right leg either bends and stamps or floats off the ground. You can keep your hands behind your head. And we'll just take a few moments here, coercing the left shoulder blade to come off the ground. It might not do any such thing, and that's fine. A few breaths here. Now we're just going to come down the middle and we'll cross the right ankle behind the left ankle, bend the knees, hands behind the head. Exhale the two ends together. So lift your butt and your shoulder blades down and then inhale and tap down. Exhale and inhale. And then just one more time like this. Exhale. Tap it down, swap it out. Right ankle's on top, go back in. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. And then one more time like that. Exhale. Great. Now tap it down, and then you're going to pretend like you're doing crow pose in the sky. So just turn your feet towards the ceiling, knees out to the side, and put your palms flat up to the ceiling. So if I flipped you upside down, or right side up as the case may be, it would look like you were doing crow pose, and then can you get the shoulder blades off the ground? This might be enough. You can stay here, or imagine that you want to shoot it to handstand. Extend the arms overhead and the legs out in front of you, and then head back to your Bakasana. Back to handstand, and then Bakasana. This is the only way in which I can actually do Bakasana into handstand. Maybe you too. We'll just keep going back and forth, but remember, you can just stick with the Bakasana. You can even put your feet down on the ground and take a break. Great, we have 5 more like this. Could you imagine? 4, 3, 2, and then last one. Great, now just stay here in this sort of like pseudo Bakasana position and cross right knee on top of left knee. If you can manage a double cross, fine. Now, hug yourself with your left elbow on top. Just give yourself a hug and let your head come to the ground so your neck gets a break. It can stay just like this, or eagle arms. And then we're going to exhale the two ends together and inhale, tap it down. Do you feel that? I do. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Let's do 3 more. Exhale and inhale. 2 more. And then last one. Great. Unwind the arms, unwind your legs to the sky. Arms and legs parallel, or maybe better yet, hands behind your head. Lift your hips and let them stay lifted. Lift your chest and let that stay lifted. And then just sustain. Now allow your hips to come to the ground. Feel free to bend your knees and put your feet on the ground. Arms are going to drift forward. We're going to hover in Ardha Navasana here. 5. What? 4. 3. 2. Lie your head down. Take your legs to the sky. Feel free to bend your knees in that transition. Great. And then we're going to cross left ankle on top. If you can double cross, that's fine, but not important. Right elbow on top. You're giving yourself a hug. Your head's resting for a second. Maybe eagle arms. Shall we? Exhale the two ends together. Inhale, tap down. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Really good. Exhale them together. Inhale them apart. 3 more. We're almost done. Exhale. Great. 2 more. Nice. Last one. Great. Unravel your legs to the sky. Maybe arms and legs parallel. For me, hands behind my head works better. Lift your hips and keep them lifted. Lift your chest as if you want your shoulder blades to elevate off your mat. And then we'll stay here for 3, lift, lift, lift. For 2, hips to the ground. You can bend your knees and put your feet on the ground. Reach the arms, drift them forward. Start to lower your legs a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit, and hover somehow. So maybe you made the mistake of having your legs straight last time, and now you've learned bending your knees and putting your feet on the ground way easier. Or just better, you know? From the depths of your core, all the way up. Navasana, sit tall. That can be here and here. Feet on your mat, hip distance. Turn your fingers towards the heels. Lift your heart. Lift your hips. Appreciate the extension of the hip for a second. Now lower your hips to your mat. Hug your knees into your chest, rock a couple times, forward and back. See if just as a playful sort of thing, you can make your way to chair pose. And if you make a mistake, you're right on program, aren't you? I'm not even really sure what mistake means in that context. We're gonna make this eagle pose because we enjoyed it so much on our back. Stay on your right leg, left leg, up and over. Once, twice, or even a kickstand is great. You can use your wall for balance, arms out in front. A hug with the right elbow on top, and then maybe it becomes full eagle arms. It's great to stay upright. It's fantastic to unravel your hands to a set of blocks that could be awaiting you. Maybe you tip it forward, but if this rounding of your spine doesn't feel good, then stay upright. Or at the very least, be sure that you're giving yourself the support of those blocks. We'll take a few breaths here. You're still doing basically what we did lying on our back. So you want to use those muscles in this context too. Unwind. Come upright. We're going to crescent. So step it way back onto the ball of your left foot. I like to step my right foot to the right a little bit, my left foot to the left a little bit. Great. We're going to bend the back knee and our elbows. And then straighten the front leg, straighten the arms up overhead. We'll do that a couple more times. Bend the back knee and the elbows. Straighten the front leg. So really press into the big tone up a little as you straighten. One more time like that. Bend the elbows and the back knee. Straighten the arms and the front leg. Pause, go tall, tall, tall. Great, you're going to bend the front knee. It's going to become a warrior two. So spin carefully the back foot flat, inch the right foot over to the left a little bit, and then Virabhadrasana 2. It's like an old friend awaiting our arrival. Now, if you find that you appreciate straightening and rebending the front leg at some point here, do it. It's great. Those dynamic movements are really healthy for our bodies. Isometric is great too. There really, maybe in this context, there are no mistakes. Maybe those people have it right. But actually, I think that mistakes are everything. Feel a significant amount of emphasis into your right heel while we're here. Let your low belly lift. Outer edge of that back foot gets solid. Your wingspan is getting longer, fingertip to fingertip. And much like I gave you a little bit of silence in your series A, I'm going to give you some silence here too, but I haven't forgotten about you. Last 5. Remember, you can straighten every bend and lower your arms and bring them back up. Just notice what you notice. Now, really slowly and with a careful attention to the right big toe mound, start to straighten your front leg so it just feels like you've recruited all the muscles that you need. Turn your toes to the long edge of your mat. Remember our belly back bend. Find that interlace behind your back here. Inhale, lift your heart. With a little buffer of bend in your knees, come up and over. So again, you're noticing that the muscles are called to action, not that you're collapsing into joints. And just let your head relax. Like all the garbage in your head and shoulders is falling to the ground. And maybe you became aware of how much garbage was in your head and shoulders when I was silent and you were in Warrior 2. That happens to me. A mistake? I don't think so. Or maybe, absolutely. Hands on your hips, firm through your feet and your belly. Come all the way upright. We're stepping to the front edge of our mat, into our mountain. Regroup. Feel your deep roots. We're going to take a chair pose. We're going to turn it into eagle, but we're standing on the left leg this time. Right leg up and over. It could be a kickstand, a single cross, maybe possibly a double cross. Remember that your blocks and or your wall could be helpful here. Arms out in front. Left elbow on top for your hug that could turn into the eagle arms. And you don't have to do the fold, but if you want to, here it is. And it might occur to you that we did the very same thing moments ago on our back. So see if you can find that core stability in the memory of your muscles. Three more breaths here. Stay with that core stability, yeah? We're gonna come slowly up, unravel into Crescent. So step back with the right ball of the foot, maybe inch the left foot to the left. And then we'll bend the back knee and the elbows and straighten the front leg and the arms. Exhale, bend the knee and the elbows. Inhale, straighten arms to the sky and front leg is straight. Bend the back knee and the elbows. And then straighten and pause and really get the emphasis into the ball of the foot right now so you feel musculature. from the tips of your toes out the fingertips. Bend the front knee, spin the back foot flat, Virabhadrasana 2. I'll turn around so I'm facing you. And then get ready because I'm going to give you some silence again. Just notice what one runs around in your mind when I do. Are you bombarded with, I have to do this right? Is there this whole sort of right and wrong thing going on, good and bad? Or can you give yourself the benefit of learning, which to my mind is what mistakes are. Mistakes are just opportunities to learn. If we're not making any mistakes, it could be we're not learning that much. So muck around in there for a few breaths. I haven't forgotten you. We've got 5 more breaths here. Remember, if you need to, straighten and rebend, lower and lift up again. It's all good. Really consciously begin to straighten the front leg. Turn your toes towards the long edge of your mat. This time, hands on your hips. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, fold hands to your mat, or maybe better yet, to a set of blocks. Inhale, like a little dusting of cobra in the upper back. And then as you fold in with a tiny bit of bend in your knees, and it's more fluid than it is sharp, there's a fold at the waist, or at the hips really, and a little bit of a back bend in the upper back. So we're letting that hip be where the flexion is. Not so much flexion in the upper back. If you're a tripod headstand person and you're not going to fall on anything sharp or glass or small and helpless, you can go there. That would be a mistake I'd prefer you not make. And if your head's standing, split your legs, place your feet flat onto the ground, hands on your hips, firm your belly, and come up to standing. Let's step to the front edge of our mat. And once again, return to our mountain. Great. Surya Namaskar B. Bend the knees. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Either take the vinyasa or skip the chaturanga up dog, down dog, and opt for just a simple transition to downward facing dog. Right foot will simply step forward, back foot flat. Inhale up to warrior 1. Hands to your mat, step back, move through your vinyasa or straight to your dog. Left foot steps forward, back foot spins flat, Virabhadrasana A. Hands to your mat, either chaturanga or downward facing. And we digest. Yes? Either in down dog or in child's pose. High on your tiptoes, walk or float your feet to your hands. Inhale, heart extends. Exhale, fold it in. Utkatasana. Stand into your mountain. and pause. Great. Again, like that. Bend the knees, chair pose. But this time, come onto your tippy toes in your chair pose. See if you can find balance. No doubt you will encounter wobbles and challenge. We've already identified that that's a pot of gold. Now see if you can stay on your tippy toes, mindful of your knees. Squat down a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. The knees are going to fall out to the side. You can totally just use your blocks here or even sit on your blocks. A few of you, Backbend, palms flat. Remember the knee to the outside of the arm we started with? That would be what this is made of. You can always do this from a block as a launch. And step up onto your block and do it there. And when you're done with it, walk it back, toss it back, vinyasa or not. From down dog, we're going to make it that series B again. Right foot steps, warrior one, just for a breath. Hands to your mat, vinyasa or dog. Left foot steps, Virabhadrasana. Hands to your mat, chaturanga or straight to dog. And we pause. High on your tiptoes, walk or float, feet to the hands. Inhale, heart extend. Exhale, fold it in. Utkatasana. Stand. Hands at your heart. We're going to do one more. We'll do it silently. You can opt in or out of that Bakasana for this last round. I'll do it, so if you're confused, you can watch me. Couple breaths here in our down dog. High on your tiptoes, walk or float your feet to your hands. Inhale, heart reaches. Now keep your heart reaching. I'm going to use my blocks. You don't have to, but that's just like a, forewarned is forearmed kind of thing about how it might be really nice to have your blocks nearby. Just saying. You're going to stand on your right leg and extend your left leg behind you, but I want you to think back in time to when we were doing this in a belly back bend at the top of the practice. So I'm not cranking my hip open to lift my leg. I'm lifting it like there's a block in the inseam of my leg. And then just fold it in. If you want to hold your ankle, you can. You can even do that with both hands. Or both hands on the ground, or both hands on those blocks. And especially maybe if you're pliable, experiment with bending the knee a bit so you feel what it is to have your muscles called to action. And it's not just a big overstretch all the time. We're all looking for balance. That's why, it's all a mistake and nothing's a mistake all at the same time. Is that it's different, the recipe for all of us. If you're already flexible, you don't really necessarily need to chase crazy mobility. You want to find some stability. That's your balance. And a lot of us have the exact opposite equation going on. 3 breaths here. Now, put a little bend in your load-bearing leg in your right leg. Take your hands to your blocks or just walk your fingertips about a foot out in front of you so that now your top leg's going to probably lower a little bit. And you're a letter T, yeah? So you're in a warrior 3 prep is what this is. It can stay the preparatory move. That's great. If you'd like, run the arms alongside your body. or even reach the arms out in front of you for Virabhadrasana 3. Three breaths like this. Now bring your hands onto your hips. Do your best. Knee into the chest, come upright. Perhaps you even straighten the leg. It looks a lot like abdominals we did earlier. Bend the knee and just float it carefully back to warrior 3. You can keep your hands on your hips, run them alongside you, reach them out in front of you. Hands can go on blocks for sure. We got more than just that one. You're gonna come upright, knee into the chest, stand upright, arms can reach overhead. Maybe you even straighten that leg. And then just seesaw carefully, Virabhadrasana 3. One more time. Knee into the chest, upright, perhaps straightening that leg out in front of you. And then very slowly, Virabhadrasana 3. Now, just for fun, if it works for you, imagine not touching your blocks. If you need them, use them. I'm not suggesting that it's for everyone. Maybe slide your hand down to your right ankle and see if you can just balance here for a second in your standing split. And then the pièce de résistance, now that we're here in standing split, that can be hands on blocks or on the ground. So now you probably don't want to hold your ankle. Cross left knee behind right knee, and then straighten that leg and extend the left leg from its inseam again. You guys feeling this? Cross the left knee behind the right knee, like your little ball, yeah? And then extend. Looks a lot like our abdominals, doesn't it? One more time, bend the back knee, and then just hang out in a standing split for a moment, which might be using its outside voice now in regards to your outer right hip. Step left foot next to right foot. Walk them out away from each other and squat down with your feet turned out just a little bit. It's sort of a hallelujah moment, yeah? You can just stay here. That's perfect. You might experiment with if the crow pose that perhaps you did in the B series and that little ditty that we just danced had a baby, it would be single-legged crow. So either stay in the squat and enjoy, or step up maybe onto a block, palms flat, right knee stays on the arm, like the very first thing that we did today. Some of you guys have this without the block, so have at it. We're gonna come up into like a pseudo Bakasana here, and I'm just gonna lift my left leg from its inseam like I just rehearsed several times. And then I'll put my foot on the block and call it a day. But like I said, some of you guys are gonna actually decide to do that without blocks and play around with it. Great. From out of your squat or out of your attempt at single-legged Bakasana, take your blocks out in front of you. Inhale, heart extends. And then as we fold, we're going to lift the right leg. So with no further ado, we head to side 2. Now, you don't have to hold the ankle ever. There's going to be options. Obviously, you now know what you're in for sort of here. But see if you can stick with that beginner's mind. Like you've never done this before, you have no idea, the ambush is real, even on the second side. That's what it is to learn. Beginners aren't burdened by what they think they already know. They're not worried about mistakes. That's why mistakes rock, you know? They're just evidence that we're trying something new. Stay with it for a few more moments. Remember, we're lifting that right leg from its inseam. That's just handy if you ever do decide to fly that leg behind you in your Bakasana. And for other things. It's great to know the various mechanics of our bodies. And see if you can get that little bit of bend in your knee, especially if this is like super flexy for you, so that you feel those muscles working. I think by the end of this, all of us feel muscles working. If not, maybe I need to take your pulse, you know? Now, you're just gonna take your hands on blocks or on the ground, about a foot out in front of you, and then just naturally the right leg's gonna lower, shoot straight out of the hip. Not any higher than that, if for some reason that happens for you. Add the load-bearing bend, so bend in the left knee. And then it's an experiment, that's it. That's our story and we're sticking to it. You could take Arms alongside you. They don't have to leave your blocks. And you might notice that your leg is like a little bit tired on this side already because you were actually working those stabilizers even in the lifted leg. If you want to get your arms forward, you can do that. Couple breaths here. Core work in action, huh? Hands on the hips, knee into the chest. Stand it up. You can extend the legs straight. You can even take the arms up overhead if you want to. Now, so slowly, like fluid. You're really interested in the fluidity. So you come into Warrior 3 or Warrior 3 prep with hands on blocks. Can you continue to lift that right leg from its inseam and not resort to cranking the hip? And then knee into the chest as we come upright. Leg extends in front of you. We're super fluid. We just seesaw back to Warrior 3. Do what you can. Like I said earlier, we're going to need to find balance, stumbling into the new normal, and then bring your right knee into your chest, come upright. Leg can extend if you want to. Great, and then just bend the knee, seesaw. Now, just if it's interesting, think about going to standing split without touching the ground. Just sliding down to your ankle. It's like a proprioception thing, like where am I in space? And chances are it's gonna provoke a wonderful wobble, mistake, fall kind of deal. All good. 2 more here. Now just place your fingertips on your blocks or on the ground. Cross the right knee behind the left knee like a little tiny ball. And then extend it behind you and let it lift. Great. Cross it behind you. Extend it and let it lift. Once more. Great, and then just appreciate the evidence of like all this time and energy and awareness in that outer left hip, also probably the left hamstring a little bit, and can you keep the wisdom of lifting the leg from the inseam, because it's so easy to get seduced by old habits when you're, feeling all the stuff, all the feels, Right foot next to the left, step it wider, turn the feet out, let it be a squat. Hallelujah. You can stay here the whole time. You can stack your blocks and sit on them. You could even, I neglected to say this, but you could work just straight forward Bakasana if that's kind of like more your groove. And then if you're doing a single-legged Bakasana, I'm going to use the block. You don't have to if you've got that going on. Knee against the arm. I lean forward and I just think, can I repeat what I just did with my right leg? And extend it back behind me. Great. And then you'll come out of it. And we're going to find Padahastasana. So whether you did the arm balance, maybe you tossed it back and you're taking a vinyasa right now, just meet at the front edge of your mat, feet at least hip width, probably even wider. Slide your hands beneath your feet. That can require a really deep bend in your knees. Your wrists are going to get a release. And it's just so nice to turn inward here. Take a couple breaths. Great, slide your hands out from underneath your feet, heel toe your feet together for a chair pose. And we'll twist this one, hands in a prayer. Lean out, hook your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh and give yourself a twist. If you want to, you can just squat it down. If your legs are just like, forget it. Squat down like this or sit down on a block and do it. It's great, it's perfect. Now, just see if you can find that stability in your right hip that we just found and turn into a little stork where you just flip your left heel towards your butt and you pause for a second. You feel all that work we did before? Now just see if you can slowly step it back into a twisting crescent, and a lot of us are going to lower the back knee. It's brilliant. If you've got other things that you do, you extend the arms, you take a bind in this pose, then go for it. few cycles of breath here. Great, now if it isn't, begin to lower your back knee, and you're just gonna unravel enough that your left hand can come to a block or to the ground on the inside of your right foot. I'm gonna use a block. Bend your back knee, reach back with your right hand for your foot. It may just be that it doesn't quite happen. You can lasso it with a strap or a towel. A lot of us are walking a lot more, myself included, and I really feel the hip flexor psoas area appreciates something like this. Maybe you do too. It's fine with me if you want to drop the knee out and be on the outside of the foot. It's taught both ways. I am, not to give away the surprise, but I am going to take you to Asana. So theoretically, it would be nice for you to be a little bit more neutrally rotated, but it's fine. You're going to be okay. Some people come onto their forearm here. Not me, but some people. Last couple breaths here. Let go of that left foot. Super slowly, straighten the front leg. I'm gonna get my blocks on either side of my right leg. And it can just be live here. And you're kind of thinking fold at the hips, dusting of back bend in the upper back. We just did standing split. So this is basically us having rehearsed something in a different modality or like iteration. And you're just gonna slide somewhere, maybe. And maybe you're already there. When you get just enough feedback for it to be interesting, and it doesn't feel like you're stretching guitar strings too far in the back of your right leg, breathe into it and be with it like when we were having that silent moment in our Warrior Two. Notice what bubbles up. If your mind is loud, it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's not a mistake. I mean, it is, but it isn't, you know? The mistakes are where we learn. Can we morph it into opportunity? Not turn it into blame. We're gonna need to do that globally. You know what I'm saying? Last few moments here. Now, make sure that you're really paying attention as you come out of this. Transitions are key. Start to make your way out. You can take a vinyasa if you feel like you want one, or, you know, I think you met your quota. So you don't have to do every single vinyasa that's suggested to you. We'll meet in down dog either way. And then high onto your tiptoes, walk or float your feet to your hands. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold in. Utkatasana, chair pose. Reach for your blocks if that was helpful. Hands into a prayer, we twist. Right elbow now on the outside of the left thigh. If you do different things like extend your arms or bind in this pose, go for it. Now, like a little stork, just see if you can feel that outer hip work we just did. Flip your right heel towards your butt. Say hello to them once again. And then just sneak it back into a crescent twist. Or back knee down for your twist. And anything you love doing with your arms is great. Last 3. Now just gently Lower the knee, take your right hand on the inside. I'm using my block, you don't have to. And you might need to kind of like experiment with how far back that right knee goes. Reach back and see if you can find the foot. Lasso it with a towel or a strap, or just the attempt is fine. It's great. If you're a down onto the forearm person, you'll do that. If it feels like it's grinding your back kneecap into the ground, we'd like to avoid that. So you can just make sure that you're a little bit more above the knee on the thigh bone. And you can also pad that back knee. I neglected to say that on the first side, but anything you need, and that's why tuning in is so important. Like really ask yourself what you need. So this becomes progressive and not a setback. And then let go of the foot, frame your left leg, start to straighten it. And then like this could be plenty, just right where you are right now. And it could be that some of you slide the left heel forward, the right knee back a little bit. And I bet there's evidence on this side too, that something's different one side from the other, for me as well. Remember, when we exit, when we transition out of it, that's when you want to be the most aware, right? So you're not just spacing out and going through the motions. You'll start to slide the heel back, inch your way out, vinyasa or not. Again, we're going to meet in downward facing dog when you're done. And then take a look at your hands and walk or float all the way through to seated and lie down on your back. Now, we're going to start with a couple of back bends, and then I'm going to give you options because I think we all have sort of different thoughts about where it might feel best for this to rest. There are no mistakes. Maybe I'm beginning to believe what those people say. Let the shoulder blades come underneath you. Lift your hips up, bridge pose. If already at this point you know that you want things to be restorative, just take one or stack both of your blocks. You want to make sure you're lying down, you're trying to do it from seated, and you would just scoot those underneath your tailbone and remain on them the whole time. So that's one option, is to let this be like a sweet little restorative finish and just be here the whole time. Some of you from bridge feel like that was enough and you'll lower down and place one hand on your heart and one hand on your low belly. A few of you, maybe even from that bridge, went to Ardha Navasana, or you'll do that the next time. If you're heading to Ardha, you'll flip your palms next to your ears. Carefully maneuver shoulders into their sockets before you head up. Now, I'm not saying don't try, but I am saying think to yourself, what is the motivation for going to full back bend? If you're getting feedback that says, you know what, this would be a better bridge than it is an Ardha Navasana for you today, that's great. And then we'll release it down, and here's the departure. So some of you guys might decide to head to the wall, do inversions, maybe even kick up into something that involves a handstand and a backbend, a scorpion, or Pincha Mayurasana and a backbend. I'm going to join those of you who are doing the restorative here. I'm going to take the blocks underneath my tailbone. If you want to do more of the full wheel, that's great. So have at it if you want to hop off and do that stuff. Great. For those of us who are here on our blocks, consider this possibility. Consider taking your left foot and then being on the top of that left foot here. There's a lot going on there already for me. That might be it. If it hurts your low back, this is not for you. It could be that you enjoy bending the right knee into your chest and even taking that right leg up to the sky while we're here. Shades of our standing series, yeah? If you're in Ardha and you want to lift one leg like I'm doing here, you could do that, put it down, and then take the other leg up to the sky. Great. I'm going to bend my right knee, stamp my right foot onto the ground. I help it along. I hold on to my left ankle, and I just ease that leg out of where it just was. Take a little inventory, make sure you're fine. I'm going to take the right top of the foot. You can't see it probably as well on this side from me. This is my tighter side, and don't I know it? So it's sort of like a half Mayurasana feeling, if you're familiar with that terminology. And then maybe left knee into the chest, maybe left leg up to the sky. All this optional. If you head into it and you realize maybe it was a mistake, then you know it's the juicy kind of mistake that you catch because you're paying attention and you learn from it. That's what I mean about it being everything. But if you don't try because you're afraid of making a mistake, wait a minute. A couple more moments. Now bend the top leg and put it on the ground. Remember, we're being really cautious, so hold the right ankle and help that leg out of its current situation. And before you dismount your blocks, just make sure everything's copacetic. I like to lift up, take one block out, and then lower down. My friends at the wall, you can come, back at some point and meet us here, or you'll release your Ardha Navasana and meet us here. And then we're going to take our supine twist. We'll take the right knee on top of the left knee, scoot the hips to the right a little bit, let the knees spill to the left. And it's just a great way to release back bend. This is where if you made it this far, you're going to make it. Let's head to the second side. So even here in the transition, just tune in, come back to center, pick up your hips, scoot them to the left. You can cross the left knee on top if you dig it. But no, this is a 180, you know what I mean? So you don't want to slam yourself into it. And we'll come down the middle and take reclining pigeon. Right ankle on top of left knee, and then just reach through and thread the needle. Now, some of you guys prefer to make this more like a single pigeon lying upside down. You just like hug the shin in and straighten that leg. Maybe there's other things lying on your back that you love to do. It's nice to be on your back right now, I think. If you really need to sit up and do single or double pigeon, I understand. That's not a mistake, or it is. And then gently release this side. Head to your second side, left ankle on top of right knee. Thread the needle. Take it where you took the other side. And while we're here, just feel as though you're waist deep in Shavasana already. And then gently hug both knees into your chest. Spill out across the floor. Shavasana. Just silently make a promise to yourself that you'll be willing to go places where mistakes are inevitable and brilliant and enlightening. Encourage them within yourself and with each other. And bow your chin. Lift your chin and open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. If you're enjoying these classes, your donations are your vote to keep them going, and I appreciate them immensely. The Venmo and PayPal information are in the descriptions of these classes. They're also on my Instagram bio and my Facebook page. Andrea Marcum Yoga on Facebook has all that information as well. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're going to 10 o'clock start time on these live classes, 10 o'clock Pacific time, and there are bound to be other changes. So if you subscribe, you'll stay in the know. And if you get a chance, if you could like these live videos for me, go in and like them. It helps me a lot with building this YouTube format. So if you get a chance, excuse me, I would love it. I'm going to come up and speak to you here. Thank you, you guys. Here I come. Nope, my contact lenses are not. Hi, Tanya. Cool. Shavasana is tough on my Tiffany Kuzan, I think I'm seeing. Hi, honey. I feel like I need to go get my reading glasses. I can't see anything. I'm going to. I'll be right back. Tall, thanks. Jack, thank you. Yes, 10 a.m. Dom is saying, my husband in the other room. So great to see you guys. Mary in Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you. Great to see you. Jenna, thank you. You needed that. You shed a few tears. Oh, sweet thing. Giselle, love that we're practicing together. Oh, you could hear the birds singing. I wondered about that. Thanks, Elena. Yeah, Kim, thank you. Deanie, always great to see you. Oh, the fam's coming out. Tippy's here. Alexenko, so nice to have you here. Thanks for being here. From Russia. I love that we're a global practicing community. It's so cool. It's the best. Here comes Tippy. Tipper, come here. Hi, stinker. All right, you guys, I'm signing off. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, Margarita, for saying hi to Tippy. She appreciates it. All right, you guys, I'll see you on Tuesday at 10.